Today, I want to talk about what it means to be a trusted adult because I have the honor and privilege to tell teens and young adults all the time that if they encounter a problem or if they're in trouble or in danger, that they should tell a trusted adult. And one of my teens that I was working with came to me and asked what they should do if they do go to an adult when the adult is either untrustworthy or unhelpful. And as much as that breaks my heart, I realized that when I became an adult, I don't think anybody ever talked to me about what that means or even how to be a trusted adult. So I want to share some of my perspective and experience just so that we could work together, kind of co create this idea of what it means to be a trusted adult. Because I think the biggest hesitation is when a student or a loved one comes and tells us something and it's so far out of our realm of expertise or experience or even understanding that we feel like we need to have all the answers. And I've definitely been there. I screwed this up quite a few times, especially when I first started teaching. One of my favorite students of all time, who I still am blessed to have a relationship with, shared some struggles that she was going through. And I was I probably looked like the deer in the headlights. And it wasn't because I didn't want to help, it was because I realized that I didn't have the tools or the understanding, and I was scared. So I think that what I would do if I could go back and do that all over again is to say that, right? I think part of being a trusted adult is being honest with ourselves and with the young people that we're working with about what we can do, what we can't do. And I know, and I've asked my students this, they are all on board with just hearing that somebody is there for them, that somebody cares. And I don't know that they're always looking for an answer or even a solution. They a lot of times just need to not feel so alone. So, some really simple things that we can do to be a trusted adult are things that I also teach my students to do to help friends when they come with things. So, the first thing that is super helpful is to just listen. And that's really hard because a lot of times when a younger person comes and we're listening, we want to fix, we want to share our experience, we want to share our thoughts and ideas. But really, what they need more than anything is just somebody to fully be present, listen, and hold that space for them. And from there, the next part really goes hand in hand with that. And that's the idea of reserving judgment. And that's really difficult too, because when our fear kicks in and when we worry and when we know that there could or should have been better options, it's really easy to judge. And so, even if you are having a judgmental thought, I encourage you to hold on to that at least until the person who's talking to you feels heard, feels safe. Make sure that you know that they're safe. Safety is always my biggest focus. So I probably let a lot more things go than some of the other colleagues that work with teens. And that's because I want to make sure I can collect enough that I can get them to the right place, which is the next thing that you can do as a trusted adult is help them get help. So the odds of you being an expert in whatever they're coming to talk to you about, not very good. Maybe some of you are. And if that's the case, please comment on this and add your ideas, your insight, your expertise. But for most of us, we're just doing the best we can. So if somebody comes to us and they're struggling with something, just make sure that you let them know that help is available, even if it's not you. So you can help them call a hotline number. You can connect with their guidance counselors if they're in school. You can take them to an actual counselor or therapist. There are so many options for help, but a lot of the young people I work with say they never asked for help because they didn't think anybody could help them. So, as a trusted adult, we can help them get help even when we don't know. And we can also make sure that we believe them. And this is an interesting phenomenon. It's probably harder for peers to believe one another than it is adults. But as humans, we don't like to take in the tough stuff because it's hard to process. It brings up a lot of emotion. So, what we can do is just let them know that we believe them because a lot of people who've been through tough things, if somebody expresses disbelief, then they don't tell anybody else. They don't get the help they need. So even if the person that's sharing the story with you has, told stories in the past that weren't true, my core belief, this is my opinion, is that it's safer to believe a lie than it is to question the truth until you can investigate. So this is just about your initial reaction when somebody first comes to you. Obviously, you're not going to hold on to a lie, and that's could probably be a whole other video. Maybe it will be, but believing them initially is so 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 important. And probably the last thing I could think of to really help is to just ask questions. Because a lot of times when somebody comes to us and they are struggling or they're scared or they're hurt, they're not in a regulated place. So they're not calm, they're not thinking clearly, they're not thinking logically, they're not thinking rationally. So make sure you take all that into account and realize that your goal as the trusted adult is to help them feel safe and calm, because from that regulated place, they can um, relate with you, they can connect with you, and then you can reason with them after that. But you can't reason with somebody who is dysregulated or not calm. So, one of the strategies that I use to help regulate when I'm working with somebody who is overwhelmed or scared is to just do some breathing, right? You can breathe with them, which is even more powerful. That's co regulation. But aside from breathing and just taking a pause, I love to ask questions, and not in a, don't interrogate somebody who is stressed out, but a lot of times they haven't paused to think about different things. So if you want to help them realize, instead of just telling them everything that you're thinking, you can ask questions and help them sort of connect the dots themselves. That helps them calm down a little bit because they're using the logical, rational part of their brain. And it also helps them to own the situation, put it in perspective, and connect all the dots. Because we can do that for them as trusted adults, but it's much more effective if we coach them and bring them there so they can get there themselves, because it's going to have a much bigger impact in the long run. So those are just a couple of my tips about being a trusted adult. And just also give yourself grace. Know that there is no perfect way, as long as your ultimate goal is to help them be safe and feel heard, then you really can't screw it up. But I'm sure there's more strategies, especially for those of you who work with teens and young adults. So please leave me some comments about what else would help if somebody doesn't know how to be a trusted adult, and share this with somebody who may need to hear it. And I will look forward to continuing this conversation because there's a lot more to it, I'm sure.